I'm going to be joining my first ever Loomian Legacy Draft League. It's called the Literally Real Draft League. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's not a very good league name, but I also agree what you're thinking, man. But the YouTubers who's hosting this draft league is called Literally Real. So he's hosting his draft league and naming it after his YouTube name, which is Literally Real Draft League. Like, no, yeah, I get it. It's a bad name, but like, whatever, man. Let's move on with it, okay? For those who don't know, a draft league is where individuals called coaches take turns drafting teams of unique Loomian in a snake draft format and battle each other weekly until one coach is crowned the champion. This is done by analyzing all the Loomians that you've drafted during the drafting phase and bring your best 7 Loomians against your opponent to counter theirs. Keep in mind that coaches are allowed to change sets on their Loomians every single week. They're also allowed to change which Loomian they bring to each battle as long as it's Loomian that they've drafted during the drafting phase. It's a battle of preparation, adapting, and counter-teaming. That is the key part of draft leagues. Oh, and you wouldn't be getting all the Loomians that you want, as once a Loomian has been picked up by another coach, you can no longer pick that Loomian. So, for example, if the coach before me picked Luminami, I just would not have Luminami on my team despite how much I want it. In this league, each coach was given 100 points. Not much, considering how expensive some of the Loomians are on the board. For reference, out of the 8 coaches who are joining this league, only 5 coaches were able to get teams of 10 Loomians. Out of the 8 coaches, I got 7th pick. A little disappointed, as I know I wasn't going to be able to pick up Lumala, a versatile Loomian that I wanted to pick up because of how versatile Spit Out was. Due to the nature of this draft league, I knew everyone would need to eventually pick up tons of unevolved Loomians if they want to reach teams of 10. My draft plan was going into this was to pick up as many strong unevolved Loomian as early as possible, so I'll have more points to spend on big hitters at the end of the drafting process. But before drafting these cheap picks, I knew that there were 2 fully evolved Loomian that I had to pick up as soon as possible. Their power is unmatched, and I'll be relying on them super hard if all things go south. And they're gonna be the backbone to my team. They cannot be replaced. My first pick for 17 points was Tsukami. I just learned that it's actually called Tsukame, but who cares? Okay, fine, we're calling it Tsukame. I've been calling it Turtle for like the majority of the time, okay? So Tsukame has great special attack, right? 116. It's amazing, okay? But even greater is its melee defense. Tsukame, whatever, I don't care, is going to be the backbone of my team, taking on most of the physical threats and pivoting to my frail sweepers with the ultimate move, Seasong. Body Crash means that I can still dish out huge damage on the melee side thanks to my massive melee defense stats. And I'll always have Frost Beam for coverage against, let's say, plant types or Oblast if someone does pick that up, which, let me tell you, someone did. Last but not least, Rejuvenate will make sure that my Tsukame, my turtle will never go down. Tsukame will be running these 4 moves only for the majority of the time, but I can see a world where Peace of Mind or Rant could become necessary for certain matchups. Tone Deaf and Quick Recovery are both great abilities. I'll probably be choosing which ability I want depending on the matchup each week. As for Frail Armor, it's probably not going to be useful. Also, side note, Grimuline was picked before my first pick. It was, oh my god, it was so annoying. It seriously pissed me off because I really wanted to play with Grimuline. Grimuline was originally going to be my 8th pick, so I did have some backup plans for it if it gets picked up by other players, but damn, Grimuline was 25 points. I wasn't expecting anyone to be picking it. Even though Tsukami will only be running 1 set most of the time, the same could not be said about my second pick. For 17 points, I will be picking up Stratosaur, baby. This is going to be my Soul Burst slot most of the time, because it's the only Loomian on my team capable of Soul Bursting. It's able to dish out huge damage with Metal Blast and Dissonant Chord after using Magnify to boost its range attack. Energy Surge will also be there. I'm not going to be cooking it much, but it's there for coverage, I guess. Thanks to Stratosaur's great stats, it's not forced to be a Soul Burst Loomian all the time as well, with utility moves such as Teardown to remove hazards, because apparently Gust got removed and it wasn't documented for some reason. Anyways, Stun can also paralyze their Loomians, Perch could help Stratosaur staying healthy, and even without the increased attack from Soul Burst, Stratosaur could still do a lot of damage thanks to Reflection Burst, which does double the damage if Stratosaur was attacked first by your opponent, which does a 140 base damage, which is really powerful. Which means that I wouldn't be worried about getting knocked out in one hit by some random electric attacks. Frail Armor means that Soul Burst Stratosaur will be even more threatening if I get that +2 speed, while Toxic Filter will mostly be there for defensive sets, improving my matchup against toxic types, which my team is kinda weak to. For my next pick, it's time to get some cheap, but not fully evolved Loomians on the team. Spoilers alert. My team consists of 5 non-fully evolved Loomians. You can decide if that's a good thing or not. For my first pick, for 8 points, I'll be picking up Raburn. This is my favorite non-fully evolved Loomian to use in battles. It can set up hazards with barbs, it can cripple melee attackers with Raging Flame, it can break clutch plushies with Preemptive Strike, it can stop opponents' utility moves with Provoke, it can remove item with Slapdown, it can do damage with its massive melee defense stat and using Body Crash, it can remove hazards with Burn Up, it can even do super effective damage against Water type with Boiling Press. This mon is so good. I truly believe this is the strongest non-fully evolved Loomian in the game. And it'll be the GOAT of my team. Who knows? You might even see some Drudge and Bulk Up sweeping set if my opponent is seriously weak to fire, because Raburn doesn't get that many coverage moves besides, I think, Mega Punch. That's about it. And also Slapdown, I guess. So if they're really weak to fire, you should expect to see some setup sets for me to sweep with Raburn. Ability-wise, we have the ability that makes Incineroar so threatening in Pokemon VGC. Terrifying. It makes it easier for Raburn to take on melee attacks, but if I really want to be cheeky in setting up on my opponents, Awakening is not a bad ability at all. For my fourth pick, I was debating over 3 Loomians with Handy. The Dyborg line, the Imperial line, and the Dainuki line. In the end, I've decided to pick up Grimmick from the Imperial line. Grimmick for 6 points is an absolute steal. An absolute steal for a Loomian of this power. This is so good. Grimmick gives me priority moves that can mess up my opponent's plan, whether it's for setting up hazards with barbs, sacrificing and pivoting with tribute or health gift, or just simply annoying my enemies with provoke. I can even switch Grimmick into Loomians who are trying to set up and Deja Vu lock them into that move forever, because I'll always have priority. Well, as long as my opponent does not have a priority attack, of course. And of course, I have Barter to trade on useless items to my opponent. The reason why I picked Grimmick over Impkin is because I do value the extra range attack and speed that Grimmick gets, letting off stronger Dark Surges and Shrew Blast. Handy will be the ability I'll be using the majority of the time, but if I'm feeling cheeky, I could slap down Snagoop's Drop a Youth with Devious. Oh yeah, and Grimmick shouldn't be holding Drop a Youth most of the time, as there are better Loomians for that item, unfortunately. You can only use 1 Drop a Youth per team. You can only use 1 item per team. So, Grimmick will probably be holding stuff like Heavy Shackles or other item that I could barter onto my opponents without consequences most of the time. At this point, I was 4 picks in and still had 52 points, way more than other coaches. Despite this, my 5th pick would be the cheapest pick in this league at that time. For 2 points, I will be picking up the ultimate D-Goat Samota, or whatever his name is. Her name is. It's a her only, apparently. But don't let the cost deceive you, because Samota is anything but ordinary, alright? Let's get the abilities out of the way. The only useful ability here is Adorable. We're not going to be using the second ability. We're just not living any biting moves. And I'm not going to switch this mon in any biting mons unless absolutely necessary, alright? Now onto the stats. This Loomian got very respectable health and range defense. I'll be hitting some nasty stab stratagem, which calculates damage based on Samota's range defenses, which is kind of high, especially if I pair it with a Drop a Youth. It's going to be through the roof. I could also use Dissipate to slow pivot into another Loomian, possibly a Sweeper, to do huge damage without taking too much damage on that Sweeper. I could even use Wonder Herb to cure statuses on my team. Don't try to paralyze me or even burn my mons, because Wonder Herb will be saving them. I could use Gust or Teardown, probably Gust most of the time, to remove any potential hazards. I could use Health Gift to give another Lumian a second life, or even Downpour if other coaches are running better teams. It's a strong Lumian with tons of utility moves that I'm sure I'll be bringing to some battles. It's a shame that it's going to be fighting a burn for the drop of youth, though. I'll have to figure out something out there. My sixth pick is a classic. I'm picking up Escargro for 5 points. It's a stronger range tank than Samota, but it also learns Stratagem, even though it's not a Mind type, meaning it won't get stabbed, meaning it probably will be doing less damage than Samota's Stratagem. But it's okay, because it's trying to stall out opponents with Poison, Sap Plant, and Photosynthesis, and maybe even Take Root. I don't see myself using this move, but it's also an option on the table. But of course, I don't have defenses. I mean, 20 melee defense, I'm not living any melee hits unless I set up Temp, which increases both my melee defenses and range defense. If I'm able to set up a few Temps, maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to live some melee hits and stall my opponents out. Hopefully. Because my opponents will probably be scoring crits on me, ignoring all my defense boosts and one-shotting me. But we're not going to talk about that possibility right now. So, Slimy is a great ability for me to lower my opponent's speed stat if they try to make contact with a Scargrow. While Ungracious Toast will make sure my opponents regret ever clicking any health draining moves on my Escargro as a free health pack. Mysterious Toxin is probably inconsistent, and I probably won't be running it. But maybe sometimes it's my only out. Possibly. Who knows? I have 4 picks left, and there are some types that I really, really want. A grounded toxic type to remove poison barbs on my field. A light type to block Fade Away and other spirit type moves. A spirit type to block brawler attacks, resisting normal, typeless, and a bunch of other good stuff. And last but not least, a strong melee attacker capable of using specialty gloves. Because if you look at my team right now, you'll see that it's mostly defensive. If we got like 3 range tanks, 2 melee tanks, and a Stratosaur that could either be a sweeper or a tank. So let's start with a grounded toxic type. The last non-fully evolved Loomian on my team. For 7 points, my pick was Verniox. Not gonna lie, I really, really wanted to pick up Doken, but it was sniped from me, so that's unfortunate. Oh, no matter. Verniox allows me to remove poison barbs simply by switching in, as well as laying poison barbs of my own. Power Claw will allow my slashing moves to do 50% more damage, even though I can't crit. While Brutal Wrath means that I'll always crit my target if my target is poisoned. Power Claw is definitely more versatile here, but we'll see. I can definitely see Brutal Wrath being a useful ability in the right circumstances. Aside using Primal Slash, Venom Slash, and Slash as my slashing moves, I can also set up Manual Poison, stopping setup with Provoke, and even set up 4 enchantments if my team needs it. I don't have near enchantments, unfortunately. This is a Mon that's, I believe, could be very strong in certain circumstances, but I'll be bringing it mainly to remove poison barbs on my side, or setting them up on the other side. My 7th pick for 10 points was Luxor. For the longest time, I've been looking at Torpore, or whatever his name is, as I thought it was really interesting to use, but my Mirwraith matchup was horrendous, leading me to end up picking up Luxor. It wasn't that expensive, so why not? It gets a super effective Fire Breath to deal with my problems as well. Luxor is a fast user of Flash and Fleet, chipping and switching into my tanks. And I also have just my Gamma Pulse to do huge damage. If I'm feeling fancy, I could even try using Swiften to boost my ally speed for 4 turns. I'm just not sure if it's going to be good in a singles format like this. Ability-wise, Illuminate and Confidence are both great abilities. I'll just see if my Luxor will be threatened by flinching or petrifying to determine my ability. Hence, determining if my stab would be Gamma Pulse or High-Pitched Screech, a move that Stratosaur dearly misses. And Dawn is just a ability for double, I guess. At this point, I had 28 points left, which was way more than any other coach had. I was hoping to pick up Barbadger and Sinogre as it fulfilled my requirements, which is having a spirit type, and also a strong attacker that could use specialty gloves. But unfortunately, Sinogre was sniped. And just as I shift my mind to Vesperatu, guess what? It was sniped too. what a sad day for ES. The only good spirit types that remained was Harvesect, Wendelin, and Ursol. Unluckily for me, I didn't want to use any of them, so I had to shift my strategy. I ended up deciding to pick up Hunter and Violana, accepting the fact that my team would be extremely, extremely weak to Earth and Dark types. I'll just have to find ways through it. I'm sure I'll be able to with my expert team building skills, but this is going to be putting me in the really rough spot for this league. Oh man, how am I going to do this? Let's start with Hunter, my ninth pick that costed 15 points. Originally, I wanted Barbadger because Gremuline was sniped, but I decided I wanted more speed so I can comfortably use specialty gloves. So I decided to shift to Hunter. With Power Jaw or Brute Force, I'll hopefully be able to kill any Loomian that stands in my way with a little help, and if the calculator tells me that I am truly unable to kill a Loomian, I'll always have Zip Zap to switch me into safeties. The notable moves that Hunter gets are Vice Jaw, Thunder Chomp, Blaze Chomp, Chili Chomp, and also Mega Chomp. I'll be chomping everything in the way. Huh. Last but not least, Violana. This is a Loomian who I've truly got no experience with. Picking up Violana here also means that I will not be having an Earth type for this league, a very important type. Oh, how much do I miss Dokkan? But whatever. I'm sure with my building skills, I'll be able to push my Loomians to their absolute limit, breaking through any obstacles in my way. So, back to the topic. Violana was my last pick for 13 points. Violana is my third stratagem user, but it can also do super effective damage to dark types with Discordians, whatever that move is called. Square One can also help resetting my opponent's boosted stats. Mudslide and Gust could help me remove hazards, and Hula Boo will limit my opponent's healing option. I could even turn Hula Boo into a bug type with Metamorphosis, which is Violana's ability. And of course, Psycho Blast is just there for a stab if I don't want to run a specially defensive Violana. Expertise and Mesmerizing are also good ability that I'm sure could come in play. Violana really doesn't seem like a bad Loomian. It's just the amount of things that I'm lacking that I want to draft that concerns me here. Hopefully I'll be able to push through, right? So, that's my team for the Literally Real Draft League. It's not as good as I hoped it was, but I'm sure I can make it work somehow, even if it's through unconventional means. But what do you think? Let me know down in the comment section. And be subscribed so you don't miss the upcoming battles coming very soon. Please, I'm really close to 600 subs. Please sub. Please, I beg of you. Please, I seriously need this. Please, my family's